Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us on Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The Sensex and the Nifty end in the green after a dramatic last-hour recovery. The Nifty reclaims 19,600. SIPs in mutual funds hit a record high of more than 15,000 crore rupees in the month of July. China's economy falls into deflation as both consumer and producer prices decline for the first time since early 2021. China's central bank says it expects consumer prices to pick up after a dip in July. Adani Enterprises is considering the sale of its 44% stake in Adani Wilmar. As per a Bloomberg report, the Adani family could retain a minority stake. Adani Wilmar shares decline in trade. Top global laptop and tablet makers like Apple, HP and Dell asked the government to put off the newly announced import restrictions by 9 to 12 months. Sources say company executives met government officials to seek an extension. They say they need more time to set up manufacturing facilities. That's an exclusive. India's top auditor reveals irregularities in the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The Controller and Auditor General, the CAG's audit shows 7.5 lakh beneficiaries of the health insurance scheme were linked to a single mobile number. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi criticizes the government's handling of the Manipur issue during the no-confidence motion. Debate accuses the government of splitting the state into two. Minister Smriti Irani responds as the Congress defines incompetence and corruption in India. Former SpiceJet promoter Kalanidhi Maran accuses the airline and its chairman Ajay Singh of willfully defaulting on payments, files a petition in the Delhi High Court seeking 50% of SpiceJet's daily revenue to be paid on a weekly basis. The court asked Ajay Singh to appear in person. ICICI Lombard gets a show-cause notice from the GST authorities claiming tax demand of 273 crore rupees. HDFC Life and ICICI Prudential Life Insurance have already received notices with tax demands totaling nearly 1,500 crores. SoftBank-backed WeWork hints at bankruptcy after posting a loss of $700 million in the first 6 months of 2023, says substantial doubt exists about its ability to stay in business. WeWork India's CEO tells CNBC-TV18 any global development has no impact on the India business. Well, as always, let's start with the day's trading action. We saw a dramatic recovery in the last hour, which saw the Nifty and the Sensex closing 0.25% higher. So that's the story on the wall. The Nifty 50 ending 60 points higher at 19,632. M&M, Reliance and ITC were the big movers today. M&M up by about 2.5%. Reliance Industries higher by almost 1%. The Nifty mid-cap closing over 100 points higher. The Nifty mid-bank was down, as was ICICI Bank, which lost close to 1% today. That was the story as far as our markets were concerned. But staying with news coming in from the markets, SIPs in mutual funds have touched a record high of over 15,000 crore rupees, and that is the number for the month of July. Total assets under management also rising to over 46 lakh crore rupees. Now, nearly 50% of the inflows in equity schemes have come in from new fund offers alone. Liquid funds witnessed an inflow of over 50,000 crore rupees. However, large cap funds have seen outflows for a third consecutive month. So that's the latest in terms of mutual fund data. Now, the three-day meeting of the RBI's Monetary Policy Committee will conclude tomorrow. A CNBC-TV18 poll shows that 100% of market participants do expect a status quo policy. CNBC-TV18 Citizens MPC also expects the Reserve Bank to hold fire for now. So when can we expect rate cuts? Well, here's their verdict.
What should the MPC do to rates? Sajid?
On hold.
On hold. Saumyo?
Pause.
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 Sonal?
Pause.
Dr. Sen?
Pause.
Okay, so it is going to be pause. I think that's not a surprise. Let's see if stance will change at all. Sajid, the stance is, a removal of accommodation. Does that change?
Retain the stance. Withdrawal of accommodation.
Withdrawal of accommodation, sorry.
Stance
Withdrawal.
will remain unchanged.
Okay. Stance?
Yeah, retaining the stance.
Retain withdrawal of accommodation.
Retain.
Okay, retain stance. Dr. Sen?
Neutral with a hawkish bias.
Okay, all right. So there is a 4:1 over there. But I think now, since there is so much uncertainty, I want a very quick third question. When do you expect the first cut?
Too much uncertainty, but I would say early 24 at the earliest.
Okay. Saumyo?
There is a lot of uncertainty on the ground, but not this fiscal year. Next
Not
fiscal
this. So April 24. Samiran?
Same with us, first quarter FY25.
April 24.
We have it in Feb 24.
Feb 24, a little earlier than that. Probably Sajid is hinting at that. Dr. Sen, when do you think, sir?
I think we are unanimous.
Well, that is the Citizens MPC, a pause for now, but a rate cut only early 2024. Now, China's economy fell into a deflation as both consumer and producer prices have declined for the first time since early 2021. The country's CPI declined 0.3% year-on-year, while its producers' price index fell by over 4% from a year ago. China's central bank has said it expects consumer prices to pick up after a dip in July. Adani Enterprises is considering the sale of its 44% stake in Adani Wilmar. This as per a Bloomberg report. The company is looking to free up capital for the core business of Adani Enterprises. Now, the Adani family could retain a minority stake in the company. Shares of Adani Wilmar down nearly 5% following this news today. And of course, the company came out and said that it will not comment on speculation. Larsen & Toubro is looking to invest around $12 billion over the next 5 years. A third of this amount will be dedicated to expanding its clean energy business. The engineering major intends to build 2 to 3 million tons of green hydrogen and ammonia capacity with the funds. The company's CEO, S.N. Subramanian, said they have been scouting for land in some coastal states to acquire between 500 to 1,000 acres of land for hydrogen facilities. Former SpiceJet promoter Kalanithy Maran has accused SpiceJet and its chairman Ajay Singh of willfully defaulting on payments. Now, Maran has filed a fresh petition in the Delhi High Court seeking 50% of SpiceJet's daily revenue to be paid on a weekly basis. The Delhi High Court has asked Ajay Singh to appear in person for the next hearing on the 24th of August. Let's go across to Ashmit now. He joins us with more. Ashmit, you know, what's going on here? We have court order after court order and yet no compliance.
Well, that's the very same question that the Marans are asking, and that's the very same question the Delhi High Court is asking. The Delhi High Court noted as a part of the court proceedings today that there have been 3 explicit orders passed which have asked for SpiceJet as well as Ajay Singh to disclose on record, to disclose on affidavit the position as far as their assets are concerned. That part of the order 3 times now has not been complied with, and that has caused much frustration and much concern on part of the Delhi High Court. And to that end, it has advanced its earlier order. Previously, the Delhi High Court had directed for Ajay Singh to appear in person on September 5th. Now, frustrated by repeated non-compliance, the Delhi High Court has said we'll advance the hearing. 24th of August is when we want both SpiceJet as well as Ajay Singh in particular to appear in person before the Delhi High Court, and importantly 1 week's time to clarify on the status of their assets and to put that on record. But that's not the only thing. Marans, who have in fact been seeking the outstanding interest payment dues, which have now added up as per their claims to 393 crores, what they're seeking in terms of relief is for 50% of daily revenues of SpiceJet to be paid to Marans over a weekly basis. That's the prayer that has been made. A fresh application has been made. The Delhi High Court has agreed to hear that application, and importantly has issued a notice to SpiceJet and Ajay Singh and has sought their reply on this latest plea by Marans seeking payment of 50% of daily revenues of SpiceJet. So clearly a lot of issues that need to be resolved. August 24th is when the High Court will be taking up this case, and that's when Ajay Singh is expected to appear in person before the High Court.
All right, let's see whether there is compliance with this latest instruction from the court. Ashmit, many thanks for joining us. Now, here's another big story that we've been tracking. Top global companies like Apple, HP and Dell have sought for a 9 to 12-month deferment of the deadline for the mandatory license for laptop imports. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that manufacturers have expressed uncertainty about the licensing process for these items. They've also said that they require more time to set up manufacturing facilities to undertake the Make in India scheme. India's top auditor has flagged lapses in the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The Controller and Auditor General, or CAG, has informed Parliament that nearly 7.5 lakh beneficiaries of the government's health insurance scheme were linked to one single mobile number. That is as per the records in the database. Sapna now joins us with the details. Sapna, this is what the CAG has found. 7.5 lakh beneficiaries linked to a single mobile number?
Absolutely, and the report of the CAG is absolutely scathing as far as the implementation of the Ayushman Bharat is concerned. So the CAG notes in its observations that the scheme indeed is good, the intent is absolutely positive, absolutely required for the poorest of the poor, but just look at the implementation. This is one big statistic that you have pointed out. A series of errors noticed in the original database, and hence the online registration verification is just not possible. So at the moment, 10.74 crore beneficiaries are being targeted, out of which close to 8 crore already registered for Ayushman Bharat. But the question now arises that there will be so many duplications within this. So many of the names that are being used are invalid. The entry of DOBs is invalid. Multiple IDs are being used. Multiple Ayushman Bharat IDs are being used, and worst of all, they are being used in hospitals or by beneficiaries who are not entitled to use them. So that's where the catch arises. Now, the CAG has also, made observations as to how the database can be cleaned up, but those are more long-term in nature. I think the various departments of the government can pull out a leaf from the way the NFSA database has been cleaned up, because now there's also an intent to expand the Ayushman Bharat universe to around 12 crore beneficiaries, and that will be based on the National Food Security Act database. So, some time back, even during the COVID time, the NFSA database had been cleaned up, the Manrega database has been cleaned up, Aadhaar database has lots of checks and balances time and again. PM Kisan database has been cleaned up. So I think a serious spotlight needs to be put as to cleaning up the Ayushman Bharat database. That's one. State governments do not have enough IT systems to implement the verification. That needs to be put in place. So there are multiple problems, Shireen. It's across the board. It's not just about, one mobile number carrying 7.5 lakh beneficiaries, but that shows the extent of the issue. So I think the database is completely faulty. There is no verification happening. Systems are not in place. Cards are being used in places where they are not supposed to be used. Beneficiaries are wrong. Their invalid names are there, and there is no cross-checking worth its name. So I think a long haul is demanded in terms of cleaning it up. And as I've just mentioned, there are enough examples for the government to do that, but that may take some time to unfold.
All right, Sapna, appreciate you joining us. That is what the CAG has had to say as far as the beneficiaries that have been recorded as far as the Ayushman Bharat scheme are concerned. In what could be relief for several pharma companies, sources tell CNBC Awaaz that the government is considering an amnesty scheme to settle cases of drug overpricing. The National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority had filed 2,220 cases, totaling about 13,000 crore rupees. That's including interest and penalty. The government is expected to recover between 5,000 to 6,000 crore rupees via this amnesty scheme. Now, the Union Cabinet has approved amendments to the GST bill. This includes imposing a goods and services tax of 28% on real money gaming. Remember, this was the decision of the GST Council, which has now been ratified by the Union Cabinet. And speaking of the GST tax on online gaming companies, Mobile Premier League, or MPL, has said it will lay off 50% of its workforce in India. In a letter to employees, the company said that the decision was made owing to what they see as a 400% rise in the tax burden following the GST Council's imposition of the 28% tax on real money gaming. Workspace provider WeWork has hinted at a possible bankruptcy after posting a loss of $700 million in 2023. The company has raised substantial doubt regarding its ability to stay in business. WeWork has also issued a warning that its management has raised capital to keep its operations running and maintain liquidity over the next year. However, when we talk about WeWork India's CEO has told CNBC-TV18 that the Indian business will not be impacted by the global business fallout. So that's the latest on WeWork globally and in India. You can visit our website, CNBC-TV18.com, for more on our stories, all the details and the fine print available there for you. Time for us to head to a break, but up next, the Congress continues its defense in the no trust motion. Leader Rahul Gandhi criticizes the government's handling of the Manipur issue. That and more when we return. The top national story today, day 2 of the no-confidence motion debate, stood witness to some fiery exchanges. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi criticised the government and alleged the BJP has, and I quote, set the entire country on fire from Manipur to Nuh in Haryana, end of quote. His comments were met with strong criticism from the BJP. Union Minister Smriti Irani said the opposition is running away from discussion on the Manipur issue. She said the Congress defined corruption in India.
भारत हमारी जनता की आवाज है, दिल की आवाज है। उस आवाज की हत्या आपने मणिपुर में की। इसका मतलब भारत माता की हत्या आपने मणिपुर में की। आपने मणिपुर के लोगों को मारकर भारत की हत्या की है। आप देशद्रोही हो, आप देशभक्त नहीं हो।
You are not India, for India is not corrupt. India believes in merit and not dynasty. And today of all the days, people like you need to remember what was told to the British: quit India. Corruption, quit India. Dynasty, quit India. Merit now finds place in India.
The first speaker and all the other speakers of the Treasury benches have proven that they are not bothered about what is happening in Manipur. They have not spoken about Manipur. They were here just अपने सत्ता को ढिंढोरा पीट रहे थे, लेकिन मणिपुर में जो हत्या हो रही है, बलात्कार हो रहा है, एको ने उसको बारे में कुछ भी नहीं हमें बताया.
Anybody who has read the Mahabharata properly knows that it is not the perpetrators of the crime who were punished, but the silent spectators who stood there like trees watching her being humiliated were also punished. They will be punished like they will be punished when they were silent in Hathras, Kathua, Unnao, Bilkis Banu, and when the wrestlers were protesting.
Well, that is the no-trust motion debate in Parliament. India and the US have mutually resolved disputes regarding American tariffs on steel and aluminum products and additional duties on certain products from the US. This as per two separate World Trade Organization dispute settlement panels. The positive outcome stems from a joint notification made on the 13th of July by both India and the US, signaling their mutual accord in resolving the contentious issues. There could be relief for home buyers of stalled realty projects in Noida and Greater Noida. The UP Cabinet is likely to approve a special package that will waive the penalty and interest on developers who defaulted on land dues. This proposal was recommended by a committee chaired by Amitabh Kant. The panel also recommended to remove the ban on registration of properties of these projects. In global earnings, Sony reporting a 31% decline in profit in the June quarter. This was largely dragged by its insurance business and a weak performance in its movie division. The company reported a revenue of $20 billion, which was a 6% decrease year-on-year. However, Sony has raised its full-year sales estimate for its popular PlayStation 5 console. The Indian Space Research Organisation, or ISRO, has successfully carried out a planned orbit reduction maneuver of the Chandrayaan-3. The maneuver has brought India's third moon mission closer to the surface of the moon. The spacecraft is now only 1,437 kilometers away. Well, it is the final lap there as far as ISRO's moon mission is concerned. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. You can visit us on our website, CNBC-TV18.com. You can also find us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads, and of course on GeoCinema. From all of us here for now, thanks very much for watching.